What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Party On Broad. Just me today. My man Ryan is traveling for work. We are getting ready for Eagles Sunday. So let's recap, break down week 8 of college football, and look ahead to week 9. Another banger of a week. We're going to be talking Alabama versus Missouri as our game of the week. I'm going to give you my Eagles draft target to watch and a player of the week prediction, a guy that I think is going to perform extremely well. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. Comment your thoughts on the college football scene right now. But let's take a look at the game of the week. And for me, my takeaway from last week, and that's got to be Georgia versus Texas. That was our game of the week from last week's show. Let's deep dive into that. And I think we learned some things. It wasn't perfect, but Georgia remaining the top dog, welcoming Texas into the SEC. That was probably the moment I think that is going to be remembered going forward. The Bulldogs largely dominated Texas by not playing their best, but they were fast. They were physical. They played well despite quarterback Carson Beck throwing 3 picks. Texas didn't lead for a second in the game, had to regroup at halftime, and they were staring down a 23-0 hole. And Quinn Ewers got benched, man, in that second quarter. Backup Arch Manning came in, had a brief appearance, couldn't provide a spark. But I thought the Georgia defense, which has really struggled at times this year, was flat out terrific. Texas was 0 of 7 on third downs in that first half, only 38 total yards in the first half. And on the night, Texas averaged 1.1 yards per carry on the ground, 29 yards on 27 carries. And I thought the leader of that was Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker was sensational, had his best game of the season, just an agent of chaos, became the first player in the last 20 years to produce 3 sacks and 7 tackles in a single game against a number 1 opponent, and did all of that in the first half. He did leave for a second due to an injury. He did come back. He also had a fumble recovery. Just an amazing performance. The Bulldogs as a team forced 3 fumbles, 4 turnovers on downs in just the second half. It was a straight up vintage performance from a Georgia defense that we've somewhat been waiting for. It was nice to see Mykel Williams also get 2 sacks. That was our player of the week from last week's show. Good to see him starting to get back. He's been struggling through injuries this season. And yeah, Georgia delivering their 100th win of Kirby Smart's Georgia tenure in just memorable fashion. Georgia is back. That was easily my biggest take of week 8. Let's talk about our Eagles draft target to watch. All right, Eagles draft target to watch. I'm going to Oregon. We're going to the Big Ten. I covered another guy for that Oregon defense in Jordan Burch. Oregon keeps rolling. I believe they won 35-0 on Thursday night. But heading into week 9, I want to cover another guy that I think is another breakout star, especially for the defensive line, a big area of need for the Philadelphia Eagles going into 2025. Let's talk about Derek Harmon, 6'5", 310 pounds. He's a junior. He would be an amazing running mate with Jalen Carter going forward. An explosive athlete, fires off the line of scrimmage, engages his hands early in the play. He has really long arms that helps him lock out offensive linemen and execute pass rush moves. He's got to continue to develop a larger arsenal of moves when it comes to attacking the quarterback, but I love his ability in the run game. He knows how to use his long arms to stack, peek, and shed. He disengages from single blocks really well, and he's got excellent power. He's powerful enough to drive run blockers into the backfield, be a disruptor in the backfield. This season, this guy has been extremely effective. He's the Power Four's only defensive tackle with an 80 PFF grade in both pass rush and run defense. And he's got 28 pressures this year. That leads all defenders in the Power Four, which is straight unheard of when you consider this guy's a defensive tackle. He's got inside-outside versatility. I've seen him, do that this year. So keep an eye out for Derek Harmon, a guy that has been sensational. This week 8, he had 3 pressures. Oh, no, he's had at least 3 pressures in every single week this season. Love that consistency. Oregon takes on number 22 now. I'm sure Illinois will be bumping up big time after that win against Michigan. And I thought the way Illinois handled Michigan in the trenches this week was really impressive. Illinois beating Michigan at its own game is wild. The fact that we're talking about Illinois having major college playoff implications is pretty wild. This is an Illinois team that never trailed and won pretty convincingly. Yeah, Michigan has ridiculous quarterback issues, but Derek Harmon is going to be a really fun one to watch. So Jordan Burch, Derek Harmon, 2 guys on that D-line for Oregon that I think everyone should be paying attention to. They also have a cornerback in Jabbar Muhammad. We've already covered on this show as well. First, second round guy as well. Smaller. I'm not sure if he's an outside guy going forward in the NFL, but he's terrific. Let's get into our game of the week. All right, our game of the week, just as we had mentioned, it is Alabama versus Missouri. Let's get into Missouri. We haven't talked about them yet. We've talked about Alabama several times on this program. Missouri was one of the biggest surprises of 2023. They won its first New Year's Six Bowl in 10 years last season. It was also their first winning season since the 2018 season, and a big reason for that resurgence was its offense. Man, they were electric last year, and heading into this season, their biggest strength supposedly was going to be their elite passing attack, led by Luther Burden. And this is a guy that came into the year, you could say, was maybe wide receiver 1 in the 2025 NFL draft. It's been a somewhat disappointing season for him, even if the overall numbers are still kind of solid. But the Missouri offense has been lagging. They haven't been able to put up the sort of numbers you would expect. And in fact, I saw many think that Luther Burden is a top 10 talent just a few months ago. I still think he is. I still think at the end of the day, he probably tests extremely well. He's 5'11". He's a 3-level threat, amazing explosiveness, speed, and twitch. He's an amazing separator. He has the play strength to succeed in all phases. You look at his frame, the rack ability. He's got rare catching instincts and body control. This guy has player comps of Deebo Samuel and Jamar Chase and Amari Cooper. Luther Burden is as legit as it gets. He makes plays, but he needs the ball more. And then Missouri needs to figure it out. And that brings us to Brady Cook, the quarterback for Missouri. This is a guy who knows how to trust his eyes. He knows how he knows his ability of his receivers. This is a dual threat quarterback, more of a savvy runner than a dynamic one like a Jalen Milroe, but he is athletic enough to pick up first downs if he needs it. What really matters, though, is I think his processing has really improved since last year, and he executes really well. When it comes to weaknesses, I think the thing that stands out is he struggles against pressure if he has to be moved off his spot. His rushing ability mitigates that struggle a little bit, but he tends to lean on it too much and struggles to make accurate throws off platform when he has to. Overall, he's got an average arm that I think prevents him from ever really becoming a full-time starter in the NFL. But outside of that, I think he has good mechanics. He's got pretty good accuracy, solid pocket management skills. He's a good decision maker with the football. Right now, I have a day 3 grade on Brady Cook. And that leads us to another offense in Alabama that started out like gangbusters. They were outstanding to start the season, but my goodness, things have really struggled, at least as of the last few weeks. Let's get into Jalen Milroe, who, let's talk about Alabama. Alabama dropped its second game of the year this week against Tennessee. The first time the team has lost multiple games by mid-October since 2007, man. Alabama football is no longer the standard, and it feels dirty to say. My take on Alabama's struggles is this team just has no offensive identity. We're 7 games into the season. They can't run the football effectively, even with a very experienced offensive line. They've got several guys on the O-line that will be high picks. They have perhaps the best running quarterback in the country, and they've got a pair of running backs that are pretty solid. And as a team, they're not consistently opening up holes. They don't have running backs that know how to break tackles. And this is a team that used to hang its hat on dominant run games and a dominant ground game. And it's actually a weakness for this team. It's bizarre. Alabama managed 75 yards last week, 2.2 yards per carry average. Just the ability to run the ball. This is also a team that seems to kind of refuse to stick with the run for sustained portions of the game. What's up, Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore? What happens with this then is it forces Jalen Milroe to throw the ball 45 times. I don't care. I love Jalen Milroe. I'm really high on that guy, but making him throw the ball 45 times is not a recipe for success. This guy is limited in that area, but keep an eye out on Ryan Williams. By far, Jalen Milroe's favorite target. Williams had 8 catches and 73 yards and a touchdown last week. But the stat that stuck out the most was his 18 targets. Jalen Milroe's accuracy was off on Saturday. I thought he missed Ryan Williams on at least a few targets there, which could have made the outcome a little different against Tennessee. Ryan Williams is electric. He's arguably the best freshman in the country right now, right there with Jeremiah Smith, with Caden Durham, and Jaden, I forget the guy out of Florida who had an amazing game this week. So keep an eye out for those guys. I think those are the main players in this one. Again, 2 offenses that are kind of trying to get their head out of their ass and get back to Missouri, Alabama football. So whichever offense I think can do that, I think will probably be the winner of that matchup. Let's get into my Eagles Player of the Week prediction. Player of the Week prediction, let's go with Kansas State. One of my favorite running backs in the country. He is DJ Giddens. If you haven't heard of him, you should have because he's putting up ridiculous numbers. He's got 842 yards this season, around an average of 131 per game, 4th in the nation. He averages a lot of receiving yards as well. I think he has 129 receiving yards through the air. He averages 6.6 yards per carry, which is among the best in the country. This is a do-it-all running back for the Wildcats. In 2023, he forced 69 missed tackles on the ground. He's got 39 missed tackles through 7 games this year. He's versatile. Again, 6 foot, 216 pounds. Runs with an upright style. He's got really impressive change of direction skills. And I think this guy makes defenders look silly on that second level, man. He is ridiculous when in open space. And when you look at his upside in the passing game, I think there's absolutely a path for DJ Giddens to be a top 100 selection next April. Kansas State takes on Kansas this weekend, a team that kind of finally looked like 2023 Kansas for the first time in 2024. I was a big Kansas fan with Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal. They have really really struggled. Kansas obviously has a massive hill to climb. They're 2-5 on the season after picking up their first conference win against Houston. But keep an eye out for DJ Giddens against Kansas. I think he's going to put up terrific numbers. And that is my player of the week prediction, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Ryan will be back next week. Make sure you go check out Eagles Pinpool Network. We'll be doing Eagles halftime and post-game live over there. And on this channel, get ready for more shorts and highlight reels of everything Eagles versus Giants. I am Dibes, Mr. Crockpot on X. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome.